I thought I was being clever, even wise. I told myself that if I just held out, if I denied him intimacy until he married me, he would have no choice but to commit. That's what I had always been taught, that men value what they have to fight for, that love grows stronger when it's tested. So, I convinced myself I was protecting my worth. In reality, I was playing a dangerous game I didn't even understand. At first, it almost worked. He chased me harder, called more often, went out of his way to impress me. I mistook persistence for permanence. But behind his eyes, I never noticed the shift, the gradual erosion of trust. He began to suspect that I wasn't being genuine, that I was manipulating him. He saw me not as a woman holding out for love, but as someone using her body as a bargaining chip instead of an act of affection. Still, I kept going, believing time was on my side. I thought he'd get so invested that he'd eventually give in. But then came the night when everything fell apart. We were at his apartment, sitting across from each other. The silence was heavier than it had ever been. He looked at me with a mixture of disappointment and pity and finally said, "I figured it out. You're not holding back because you don't love me. You're holding back because you think you can trap me into marrying you." His words stabbed me like a knife. Not because they weren't true, but because I had been caught. I tried to explain, to tell him that I only wanted security, marriage, commitment before giving all of myself. But he shook his head, his voice steady and sharp. "If you have to play games to make me stay, then maybe you never believed I wanted you at all." And with that, he ended it. He stood up, walked away, and left me there, my excuses spilling out like shattered glass. The worst part wasn't even the breakup. That alone broke me. It was what came after. He didn't keep it private. He told our friends, his family, even acquaintances. He told them I had withheld intimacy to pressure him into marriage, that I had treated love like a transaction. Suddenly, whispers followed me everywhere. I wasn't just the girl he dated anymore. I was the girl who tried to starve her boyfriend into commitment. The humiliation was unbearable. People who once respected me now smirked behind my back. Friends I trusted asked, "Is it true? Did you really do that?" And no matter how I tried to explain, the story had already been written. I was painted as the manipulator, the one who turned love into leverage, the villain of my own game. Alone in my room, I replayed everything. The nights he reached for me and I pulled away, the moments he leaned in and I turned aside, convincing myself that strength meant denial. The countless times I could have shown him that love was built on trust, not conditions. But I chose silence, coldness, distance. And in the end, I was left with the very thing I feared most: abandonment. My plan had backfired so spectacularly that I didn't just lose him. I lost the image of myself I had tried so hard to protect. Everyone knew, and I was left to live not only with heartbreak but with shame. Weeks passed, and I kept asking myself why I had done it. The answer was ugly: fear. Fear that if I gave too much too soon, he wouldn't stay. Fear that if I let down my guard, he'd take what he wanted and leave. Fear that I wasn't enough on my own. So I built a wall and convinced myself it was protection. But walls don't just keep danger out, they keep love out, too. And when he realized that, he stopped trying to climb it. He simply walked away. Do I blame him? Some days, yes. I tell myself he could have been patient, could have seen my fear and reassured me. But most days I blame myself because love isn't supposed to be a chess game, and marriage isn't something to be won by withholding. What I thought was power was really poison, slowly killing the trust between us. Now, when I see him, and yes, sometimes I still do, he won't even look at me the same way. He's polite, distant, a man who has moved on while I'm stuck in the wreckage of my choices. The hardest part isn't just that I lost him, it's knowing I pushed him away, handed him the reason to leave, and gave him the story he used to justify it. Maybe he was right to tell people. Maybe he was angry. Maybe he wanted others to see me for who I had been. But I wish he had kept it between us. I wish the world didn't know the details of my failure. And yet, maybe in some twisted way, I needed this. I needed to see myself reflected in the harsh light of truth. To face the reality that manipulation, even disguised as self-protection, destroys love. I thought starving him would make him hungrier for me. Instead, it starved the relationship itself, draining it of trust, intimacy, and tenderness, until nothing was left but suspicion and resentment. Now, months later, I live with the silence, with the shame, and with the lesson carved deep into my heart. Love cannot be forced. Intimacy cannot be bargained. And trust, once broken, is almost impossible to repair. I didn't lose him because he didn't love me. I lost him because I never let him feel fully loved by me. And that truth will haunt me far longer than the whispers ever will.